Hi everybody, welcome to my latest video. Besides a couple of fun social outings, this video is all about the garden, and the transformation down there is pretty epic, including some stonework, some garden bed making, and some planting, and probably a whole bunch of other things that I'm forgetting. So let's just get right into the video. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you again at the end. Hello from another beautiful day. I can hear the streamers going in the valley. People are out and active and tending to their gardens, and that's my plan for today as well. Because I have a whole bunch of plants ready to go in the ground, they're crying out to be put in the soil, and the garden anxiety is back as a result. So my focus for today is going to be making beds for everything. I'll try to get most of the beds completely finished, and then I also want to make sure to plant the largest tomatoes into the ground. So I have a busy day ahead of me. It's quite late in the day. I'm off to a slow start because I was doing lots of online work, but I'm focused, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to start by moving this compost down to the garden and making some beds. So I feel like I want this bed behind me to be my primary focus, and before I actually put the soil in, I want to build up the stones. Lucky for me, I still have plenty of stones left over here that are going to be too small for this wall, and I think they'll be perfect for what I'm working on. What do you think, little dude? You excited for some garden beds to lay in? I think you probably are. But since I have an absolutely enormous amount of work to get through today, let's do this stonework with the snap. Okay, I'm back after a couple hours of work and carting a whole load of stones from all over my land into the garden. This is where I'm at, and I'm so happy with it, even though I got carried away. Not only did I do the part back there, I also continued on over to this side and raised everything up just a little bit more, so that I can be sure the soil doesn't fall out of this bed, and it also means I can put a bit more soil in there as well. So the sun has come out. As you can see, it's gorgeous, but it's gotten pretty hot. So this has been a bit of a slog, I gotta say, but seeing these results makes it all worthwhile. So now I've got to continue on. Let's get some soil into the bed, and maybe, just maybe, by the end of the day, I'll get something planted in here. So this stuff is horse manure in pellet form. It's definitely super stinky and gross, especially if you have a bag explode in your car, and especially if you leave it out in the rain. And yes, I'm speaking from experience in both cases. I probably should have spread this stuff on while I was mixing the other stuff and save myself some work and just mix it all in together. But I did not. I forgot to add it. And so I'll just get this in and give it all one more big stir. And then get some cardboard on, get some straw in there. And I think I'm gonna plant chili plants in here. And the reason I wanna do chili plants is because I've had some pretty good success with them in this bed over the years. And I really would love to be able to overwinter my chilies. If you take good care of them in the cold weather, they'll last a while. So I'd like to overwinter them, and so this south-facing stone wall will help radiate the heat, create a little microclimate, and possibly give them more of a chance of survival. Normally they do okay, but this past year we had some frost and that wiped them all out. So I'm gonna stir this all in, get it all nice. So I've got loads I'd love to do today besides finishing this bed off. I'd also love to get this bed ready that's beside me, and then the bed further on that's completely filled with crap. I'd love to get that cleared away and get the bed ready to go, probably for some tomatoes. So here's where I am right now, and I'll see you guys again pretty soon with hopefully a bed ready for some chili plants. Okay, I'm back. It's about 6:30 p.m. and I've been going at this for a couple of hours. As you can see, I've got beautiful, beautiful straw on the bed, and underneath here we've got cardboard. And I've brought the chili plants over that were sitting under the olive tree, but I'm not going to plant them tonight because I'm just too tired and I want to do a little bit more research about what other plants like chilies. But these are all the jalapenos that I bought from one of the agricultural shops, and I want them against the wall, as I mentioned, so that they get the full benefit of the stone wall, because these are the most important ones to me because I pickle them and sell them or trade them with people. So it's been a fun flurry of activity, and I'm so happy with the way the stone wall looks. I got a bit overboard, but it turned out very well. And then over here we have another bed, so I've cleared away all that mess. I've just basically moved it over there and created another garden bed that also has cardboard underneath the straw. And this lovely, luscious straw was collected from my friend Carrie's place yesterday. It's leftover building straw that's gotten kind of moldy and dusty and crusty, but it's perfect for the garden. And so I'm very excited about that because I love mulch. So I've got enough straw, but I need to get some more cardboard. And we have some down at Sinead's place, but I don't have the energy to go down and get it. So tomorrow morning, I'm gonna finish this bed off. I'm gonna get the wood chips down in the path, and I'm gonna harvest that stuff and maybe make another bed or two. It's still my plan to get wooden edging around these two beds, similar to what I have over by the corn, but that's gonna be a big job for another day, and I'm in a rush because the tomato plants are not waiting for anybody and they need to go into the ground very soon. So it's been a really fun flurry of activity here in the garden. I have a visitor. Maybe he's not visiting me. He's got plans of his own. Where are you going? I thought you came to say hello. Larry. Where are you going? Where are you going? All right, you want to cuddle? What do you think of all this straw? Do you like it? He's such a suck. All right, I'll leave you to it. And yeah, the garden's looking great. I'm gonna give you a tour tomorrow when I'm doing some of the harvesting. There's lots of stuff ready to come out, but, oh, we have the other one here. Hello, Mikey. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Okay, that's enough talking to the cats because I actually have somewhere to be. Tonight, Sinead and I are going to a local village for a lamb festival of some kind. It's the first one, apparently, so I have no idea what to expect, but it should be interesting. So I'm going to say goodnight from this beautiful evening. It really is absolutely gorgeous out here. I'm so happy with how the garden is going, and I'm going to celebrate by eating some lamb and probably drinking some wine. So I'll see you guys from the festa. So the lamb festa was great. The lake was wonderful. It was just nice to relax with friends, take it easy, take a break. But I've been down to Sinead's. I've got more cardboard and it's time to push on with the work. Okay, the cardboard is on. I like to wet it down before I add the straw, just so it doesn't want to move around too much. And I'm gonna plant soon anyway, so you want the cardboard to be nice and soaked so it's easier to break through when you plant the plants. Oftentimes I'll actually soak the cardboard before I put it on the beds, but didn't have time today and it's not that big of a deal either way. Okay, cardboard soaked, onto the straw. Okay, job is done, straw is on, everything's looking luscious and lovely and ready for planting. But first, let's harvest some strawberries, pull up some root vegetables, and then we'll take a tour around the garden. So we've got the lupin that has basically just fallen over under its own weight. And I guess these are maybe ready to harvest. I don't know if it died before they were ready. These ones up here are looking a lot younger, so who knows. So let's pull those off in a minute and see what's inside. But first, let's get to some strawberries. I've already harvested one bowl so far, and they are truly delicious. One of my dreams is just to have a massive berry garden. There's blueberries, raspberries, maybe my neglected goji berries can go in there because I still don't know what to do with those things. Because I eat a lot of berries and they're super expensive at the store. And how amazing is it just to be able to come down to your garden and pick your own strawberries. So these ones are all looking pretty good. A little bit in there, they're looking kind of small. And then over here, I have some more. Though these ones don't seem to be doing as well. They kind of get weird and soggy before I've had a chance to pick them. One thing I do like to do is rotate them around a little bit as I see that they're in need of ripening on one of the sides. Yeah, so this one, these are all kind of weird and soggy. I don't even know what's happening with this. It's just basically mush. Be gone. So yeah, things are looking pretty good in the strawberry department. And that's wonderful. Now, let's clear this bed. I think it's onions, maybe some garlic, and definitely some carrots. Let's get this stinky compost out of the way. Squashing my carrots. And see what they're like. I did try to thin them out a bit with hopes that they'd grow bigger, but we've got ants kind of roaming around here, so let's see if they manage to expand in size or not. Ooh, that's not so bad. A little stubby. What about this guy? Ah, wow, these are looking a lot better than I was expecting. Ooh, that one seems like a pretty good one. So they're short, but they're still quite nice. So I find pulling up root vegetables so satisfying. It's a great noise. It's always a surprise. Sometimes it's harder to get out than you would expect. Oh, come on. It's hanging on there. There we go. I think, yeah, that's garlic. I was pretty sure I didn't plant onions there, but somehow it sort of looked like a red onion. But it's garlic and I hope it's ready. That one definitely seems nice and big. And I basically want this bed for other things, so I'm quite happy to pull all this stuff out finally. And I think this has encouraged me to do a winter garden in the future because it's just way too much fun coming around and pulling up all these lovely surprises. I just get such joy from seeing, yeah, what's beneath the surface. A few more over here. Some small ones. I think next year I'll be a bit more careful planting the carrots and spacing them properly and thinning them properly. There's some tips that you can do. I've got some ants on me. Some tips that you can do to make it easier to plant carrots because the seeds are so tiny. So I know you can mix in sand into the carrots. Someone in my comments also suggested something about making kind of bits of tape with the carrot seeds kind of strewn along them, which is an interesting idea. So cool to be able to grow your own garlic. I love it. I don't know how to preserve it, so I'll have to look that up. I think you might have to dry it for a bit. I'm not totally sure. I also know that I can eat the leafy parts. I think they're called garlic scapes. So I'll see if I can find some fun recipes to use those in. Come over here, little carrots. There you go. And last few over here. So just little tiny ones. All right. This has been very satisfying. And lucky for me, I still have this bed to do as well. But before I see what surprises lurk in that garden bed there, I'd like to first take you on a little tour around the garden and show you what's up. Let's start over in this little corner here where Alvin the avocado is thriving. I don't know if something's eating his leaves there or what, but I've been giving him plenty of water and he's looking good. So far so good anyways. I've got these raspberries still in this pot. They've been there probably for 3 years, and every year I think they're dead, but every year they somehow give me berries, so I don't know where to put them. That's my problem, because raspberries will spread around and I want to make sure wherever I put them, that's where they're going to be forever. And so perhaps this future berry garden might go over on the new land that I just bought. It could go here. This is a sort of pretty wet patch usually, although when I solve the problem with my leaking cistern, maybe it won't be so wet. But yeah, so this is something that's always on my mind. I have another one in a pot over there that's doing well. So they'll get a home hopefully soon. I've got these two massive comfreys back here, and they're sort of in a weird spot. So I'm probably gonna chop the leaves off and split them up and then replant them around some of my trees that don't yet have comfrey at the bottom, because it's an amazing plant that I'm always talking about, and I want to get it around all of my trees. We've got some oregano I got from some friends. The thyme I pulled out of the blueberry bed is looking pretty gnarly. Give that a trim. Got some lemongrass that I forgot about and then replanted while it already looked dead. So it's nice to see that it's coming back to life, because that would have been annoying. I have a jalapeno plant that I thought was dead, but it seems to be coming back to life after being overwintered. And yeah, lots of grass to cut over here. And then the very exciting bed is this corn bed, mostly corn, with some little things around here and there. I've got the butternut squash doing pretty well. I think this is a cosmos. Replanted some oregano, and there's flowers that I'm not sure what they are. Some parsley kind of struggling, but the corn is looking pretty happy, and that makes me happy. I'm hoping to get these blueberries in the ground today, which is going to be difficult because I'm kind of working in a swampy area. I'd like to extend the bed out a bit more, possibly connecting it with that bed actually, and maybe having just an entire blueberry bed where I top it out with pine needles and acidic soil. So I'll have blueberries, and then I'll see what else likes acidic soil. I know there's certain flowers that really love it as well, but getting those in the ground today is a priority. My grapefruit tree, the comfrey is looking amazing, but the tree itself is kind of struggling. It has had ants crawling all over it, and I don't see ants anymore, but it looks like they've done some damage, because this was looking super sexy not too long ago, and then after this ant invasion, it's looking a little not so great. And then one of my favorite things in the whole garden so far is the future wall of sunflowers. It's looking fabulous. The one over there is doing well also. And one thing I did notice is that any beets and radishes that I might have planted in here, they're probably getting crowded out by the weeds that have sprung up. So that's why I don't really like direct seeding. I find that weeds take over before the seeds have a chance to get up. Or it could also be that ants have eaten the seeds. I don't know if ants like to snack on seeds, but there's definitely loads of ants in that bed. And this one's doing pretty well also. The grapes are looking good. Don't know if this one has any signs of actual fruit on it, but plenty of my other vines do. Yeah, you can see maybe over there's some grapes forming, so that's excellent. And this bed, actually, while we're here, let's harvest these things and see what's up. So I'm pretty sure that this is a lupin plant, but I was also pretty sure that they had beautiful yellow flowers, and there's no sign of any flowers. These are all little miniature beans in various stages of formation. We've also got these ones partially formed, and then these ones that look like they could be ready to pick. So if this is what I think it is, these should look like the bar snacks you get in Portugal, the yellow things that they stick in salt. They're called tremoso. I think they're disgusting, but people like them as a salty snack. And so they do look like those things, except for much smaller. So I imagine the plant has to carry on for quite a while longer to really form into the tremoso that you'd find as the bar snack. So I really just wanted to experiment. I planted 3 of them. This is the only one that survived. I think the slugs got to the other ones. So I don't know if I can save these and try to use them for seeds next year. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take these pods that are larger and dry them out and stash them away for next year. And yeah, it's always an experiment, and it's always nice when you can use seeds that you save from your own property. Okay, moving on. This bed has served me well. It's got some parsley growing. The coriander has actually done really well, though it's starting to bolt now. The chives have been great. I think this is Swiss chard, which I don't really know what to do with, so it's kind of just growing it because someone gave me a plant. The kale's doing amazingly. I eat that a lot. And the chives. I love a chive. I love the flowers. And I like to have chives in many of the garden beds just because they're useful and they look pretty as well. So the cucumbers are in need of a trellis, and I finally have an idea of what I want to do. I'm not sure if I'll get to that in this video or the next one, but I have plans, and I think I have a little bit of time before they need extra support. But one thing that's happening over in this bed that fills me with great concern is that plant and that plant. They're looking pretty bad, and I'm wondering if it's because of voles. And I'll know, voles or something else sinister in the earth. And I'll know when I pull this up if the root has been nibbled, whether it is or not. And I'm a bit concerned because I definitely don't want to be dealing with them. Okay, that's curious. So it's hard to say. It hasn't been nibbled by a vole. So I'm really wondering what's up with these two things. The other ones seem quite healthy. And so I guess I'll just be vigilant, monitor the situation, and lucky for me, I have some other cucumber plants that I can use to replace these two. And maybe I'll end up getting a few more in the middle as well, just in case. So the cucumber bed is mostly looking good with a little bit of concern, but I'm happy with it, and the trellis is coming soon. So I guess that's most of the garden. I don't really have a lot of stuff growing at the moment. The comfrey over here is doing amazing. Oh, and check out this lime tree. It's going to be insane if all of these limes grow to a decent size. One thing I do like to do is kind of come around and see if I can shake any off, the weakest ones, because they're going to need more space. There's just so many of them on this tree, and thinning them out is going to be important. I mean, look at that. It's absolutely crazy. But it's definitely an amazing problem to have because limes at the supermarket cost a fortune, and it's a fruit that I love and use all the time. Okay, so that concludes your early May tour of the garden. I'm gonna gather up all of the stuff I've harvested and then see you again up in the polytunnel where I'm gonna get some plants together to plant down here. Hello from the polytunnel. I've actually stopped for some lunch, did some chores, and now I'm ready and raring to get these things in the ground. So I have a whole bunch of different varieties of tomatoes, and the one I'm most excited about is the green zebra/zebra that came in a pack of more unusual tomatoes. So I didn't actually think this one germinated, but it looks like I've got 2 there. So I'm gonna repot those, and hopefully both of them grow up to be big and strong, because I'm very curious about this tomato. I just have so many, lots of stuff I haven't heard of. The yellow pear is a fantastic one, really sweet, very lovely. And I'm just gonna plant one of each to start, and then see what kind of space I have and go from there. So, guess it's time to load up the wheelbarrow and then get these things into the ground. So I've got a lot of tomatoes to choose from. I'm wondering if you guys can tell me what your favorites are. I've got yellow pear, Montserrat, mini bell tomato, Roma, which I know, Honig, pineapple tomato, which I've never heard of. I think that's Curacao de Bois, but the label's rubbed off, so I'm not sure. I have the 2 cucumbers to replace the ones that are looking pretty funky down in the cucumber garden. Golden Princess tomato, sweet honey tomato, and then this one here is a mystery one. I've just labeled it tiny tomatoes, and this makes really, really small, very sweet, like candy tomatoes, and it just sort of appeared in my garden, so it might just be some random creation that cross-pollinated, who knows. And so I also have some tomatoes that haven't made it into the smaller pots yet, so that they can grow bigger. We've got the green zebra, as I mentioned, Citrina, Saint Pierre, and Rio Grande. So I'm gonna free up some pots when I get some of this stuff and those in the ground, repot some of the babies, and then basically fill the table up again and continue the process. So I think I'll do tomatoes in this bed because I've never done them in this bed before, and why not try something new? I also discovered that I have some calendula growing, and I didn't realize that calendula was the same thing as marigolds, so I wish I would have seeded some more. I might pick some more up in the shops because marigolds are fabulous to have around the garden, and I don't think I'm too late to get them going. So that's a good start, but I need more. I'm gonna pack this bed fairly densely. I'm gonna leave space for some basil and maybe some other surprise companion plants, but yeah, it looks like I've just got a lot more space than you realize. And so let's head up to the polytunnel once again and get more tomatoes. Okay, I'm back. Things are very tightly packed in this bed, and I've left, believe it or not, some space on the end for basil. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in there. As it turns out, calendula is not the same as a marigold. It's called a pot marigold, but it's a totally different plant. However, as it turns out, it's also a good companion plant for tomatoes, as are zinnias and cosmos. So I got a few of the last remaining flowers and stuck them in the middle. I love a bit of symmetry, so we've got everything laid out kind of in a pattern with the flowers in the middle, and I think it's gonna look great. So I wouldn't pay too close attention to my gardening tips. I just kind of wing it and do what feels right in the moment, but I have been following along lately to Nettles and Petals. He's a lovely British guy that has an Instagram account, and at the moment he's really giving lots of good tips on tomatoes. And I do know a little bit about planting tomatoes. I know you should take off some of the lower leaves and put it in quite deeply. I also know that you could, if you wanted to, sort of plant it sideways, and it allows for more roots to grow. I'm just going to go straight into the ground, but I'm going to go as deep as I can. Some of these plants are pretty small still, so it's not ideal, but what the fella at Nettles and Petals was saying is to put a little pocket of compost at the bottom of the hole, just to give the tomatoes a little boost in their early days of growing. So I've got this stinky stuff here, and I'm just going to put a handful into the bottom of each tomato plant hole, bury them as deeply as I can. So this one really only has a couple small leaves there. I'll get it right down to where the bigger leaves start, and yeah, hopefully that gives the tomato a nice start in life. So this is going to take a little while, and I feel like if you've seen one tomato plant go into the ground, you've kind of seen it all. So I've been busy already. I planted a whole bunch more dill over in the cucumber area, and I also snuck in another cucumber at the end and replaced one of the ones that was looking pretty funky, but I actually left the other one in because it seems dead, but I don't know for sure that it is, so I figured I'd leave it as is just in case it comes back to life, and just in case the same thing happens to some of my other cucumbers. So I don't want to be too hasty ripping stuff out, and so it's kind of a test that I've left it in there. I do still have quite a few cucumbers up in the polytunnel, so I have a few to spare, and if that one looks like it's about to die later on, I'll just replace it and it's no problem. So this is where I'm at, just putting stuff in the ground one at a time, slowly, carefully, with love. And I'll check in again before the end of the night to show you my progress. Hi Larry, are you enjoying this absolutely beautiful evening? This is your favorite stone. He loves it here. So I've been hard at work. Planting takes a very long time, and it's a little hard on the back when you're planting lots of stuff all at once. So I've got the tomatoes in the ground, and I'm very pleased with that. I've also dug up this bed and ended up with a whole bunch of onions. I've weeded this bed, and I've made a little collection of all the stuff I need to head up to the polytunnel and do some repotting. So I thought I planted onions somewhere, and it turns out this is them. So maybe I'll pickle them up or something like that. I'm not sure yet, but I've got lots. They smell amazing, and yeah, it's nice to have that bed cleared out. So I'm trying to balance garden work with online writing work and working on the crack shack, which is what I really want to be doing. And I think I've got most of the most pressing seedlings into that bed. So I'm gonna possibly spend tomorrow trying to figure out this part, getting rid of all the grass there, and seeing if I can come up with some kind of solution to stem the water tide. So I'll get the wellies out and investigate more closely tomorrow. And I also want to get these chilies in the ground, finally. And then head up to the polytunnel, where I'm going to be using these pots I've freed up to put some of the smaller seedlings into bigger pots. So hopefully they grow big and strong and ready for the garden. So it's another gorgeous evening, and I'm going to say goodbye until tomorrow. Well, this is a disaster in here. Problem for another day for sure. But this morning, I'm up early, and I'm going to tackle getting those blueberries into this bed. It's definitely pretty gross in here. And that rock there has been here for a couple years. It's really big and it needs to be split so I can move it. So that's gonna stay where it is. And on second thought, I probably don't have enough soil to plant those blueberries, and I really should figure out what's going on with this water problem before I get them in the ground. So that will be my next garden task, I think. Tackle whatever's happening over there. But I think this morning, while I've got the wellies on, I might as well push on and try to clear all this stuff away. So I think because somewhere under here there's some geotextile that I laid down. Obviously it's not working the way it was intended because the grass is growing through it, but I do feel like it's making it easier to pull this up. This is hard work, but the big clumps that come out all together with the soil make it very satisfying. So I have a lot of muddy, dirty work ahead of me, including emptying this gigantic wheelbarrow of weeds. So I'm just gonna get this done as usual with the snap. Well, I gotta say that was a very strenuous and rather unpleasant job. It's definitely not very nice in here, but the progress is great and I'm happy I persevered, but I'm definitely ready for some breakfast. So it doesn't usually happen that I get up and just get going with the work, but for some reason I'm just feeling really extra motivated at the moment. But this video has been quite long, so I think I'm going to call it quits on the garden for the moment. It's looking great though. I'm especially happy with the stone wall. I think it looks fabulous. It kind of got away from me and I ended up doing a lot more with that than I expected. And just making the garden beds and having them ready and finally getting those tomato plants into the ground as well has been excellent. It's a very sunny and hot morning already, so the heat is coming. It's gonna be upon us very soon, and so I think there's this sense of purpose and sense of needing to rush to be able to get all the stuff done outside that I want to get done. So I'm gonna leave the garden for a little while and continue work on the crack shack, but for this video, that's it. I'm calling it quits down here. I'm gonna clean myself up, have some breakfast, have some coffee, and then get back to work on the carpentry. I also have to process the food that I harvested yesterday, including chopping the carrots up, and I'll probably pickle the onions, and I'm not sure what I'll do with the garlic. I might cure it by hanging it up to dry. So lots to do, but that means there's also lots to watch. So I hope you've been enjoying this little flurry of activity in the garden. If you did, please give the video a like. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.